There are 5 waves of time travelers. I mean, from the future. They come back in 5 discrete groups. From my perspective, they're all jumbled together. I don't know if they all use the same technology to get here, but they all mostly have the same goal: to kill me. The first wave was probably more experimental, and they were not expected to succeed. They're very obvious to spot. They come running, screaming. They wear metallic jumpsuits, hairless, and they wield big military knives. Dad's gotten good at shooting them before they get within 100 feet of us. The second wave still doesn't have any hair, but they wear mismatched thrift store clothes, stuff that's been out of fashion for several years. They're easy to mistake for hipsters, especially if they're wearing hats to cover their bald heads. They don't scream as they come at me. They do walk with a purpose, as Dad says, though. A few of them have gotten close enough that I've seen their rotting teeth. Either something terrible happens to dentists in the future, or time travel does something to your teeth. My dad's a dentist. At least, he was before all of this. Dad has a bunch of fake driver's licenses. I possess dozens of fraudulently obtained library cards. They're real, but they're all under different names. Sally Roberts, Megan Jones, Samantha Smith. Plain Jane names, as Dad calls them. Easy for people to forget. We live on the road. I'm too young to drive, so I read or invent games. The backseat is filled with library books we've stolen across the country. I have 2 of the same book. One's old and the other's brand new. The old one has a lot of notes in it. The other had none when I found it. One game I like to play is to copy all the notes from the older copy into the newer one. It's no Minecraft, but it passes the time between the time travelers attempting to murder me. The third wave has black as sin hair, as Dad calls it. I don't know if time travel makes their hair that color, or if third wavers are all like genetically related or something. That's one of the questions I have for the time travelers. I keep a book of questions to ask them, should I ever get the chance to interview one. The first one with black hair didn't try to kill me. At least not right away. I'm not sure for how long, but he followed us. He'd stay at the same hotel as we did, ate at the same restaurants. He wore normal clothes and did normal things like play games on an iPhone. We were traveling down 180 at the time, going west. Figured he was making the same trek. We found out his true intention when we were halfway through Iowa. He was waiting for us at a gas station in a middle of nowhere town. He carried 2 Ruger Super Redhawks, some huge .45 Kossel handguns. He tried to dual wield them like a character out of a John Woo movie. One of his bullets hit our car. The other just missed. He was knocked back by the recoil. It gave Dad enough time to get his rifle, aim, and hit him once in the forehead. We drove off, stole another vehicle, and were out of there before sundown. One day in 7th grade, Mr. Norris asked the class a hypothetical question. He liked doing this to break up the monotony, as he called it. He asked us, if you could go back in time and kill baby Hitler, would you do it? Like the time he asked us if we'd purposely kill one person to save 5 people tied to railroad tracks. The class was fiercely divided on this issue. About half of them said they'd go back and kill baby Hitler. The other half said it's wrong to kill an infant who hasn't done anything yet. Both sides made sense to me. Now when I think of that question, I cry. Not for myself so much. I mean, I guess I do. But more so because I miss sitting in Mr. Norris's class arguing stuff like that. I miss the monotony. Now, the 4th wave. These are the most dangerous. Dad calls them sleepers. They land in the past, sometimes years before I've even been born, and they live normal lives. They know someday they might encounter me. Should that day ever come, they're prepared to do whatever is necessary. We were in a diner once, and one of the prep cooks walked out from the kitchen. He lunged at me with a butcher's knife. Dad's left hand was severed, fighting with him. Early on, Dad's longtime receptionist at his dental clinic grabbed one of his drills and attempted to put it through my skull. She waited for years before she took such a chance. Dad didn't kill her right away, so I asked her some of the questions I'd written down. She cried as I read them to her. She said my book of questions is used in interrogations in the future while people are tortured. I told her, well, maybe if you answered my questions, you won't be tortured. Dad thinks she had a cyanide capsule tooth because she died after I said that. I dream of building a device, one that let me send explosives into the future, take the fight to them. Once, several months back, we were lying low in the woods near a junkyard. From my library book, I was able to put together disparate pieces of information about how to build a machine. I mostly knew how to build it from the notes in the book I have two of. I made a prototype of my machine. It was the size of a microwave. Looked a lot like one too. I took a bullet, 38 special, and put it inside. I set the machine for 10 years from now. It disappeared. I destroyed the prototype and scattered the parts across the junkyard. Now the fifth wave was just a single person. She was an old woman. I didn't recognize her at first. My face had changed so much, but she still had my eyes. I met her only once, years ago. She didn't try to kill me. It was a summer day and I was home alone while Dad was at work. This was before his receptionist tried to kill me, before any of the other waves. The old woman came into the house through the patio door without asking. She said she was going to make herself lemonade because they stopped selling her favorite brand decades ago, but we had some in our kitchen. She poured us both glasses and asked if we could sit outside near the garden. That was always my favorite spot to read. Out there on that sunny day, she told me about a bullet she'd found in the junkyard 10 years after she'd sent it into the future. About how she built a bigger and greater machine after her father was murdered by a person with hair black as sin. Before she left, she gave me an old library book filled with notes. It looked boring at the time, but she told me I'd find it useful someday. She left before Dad got home. I told him everything that she'd said, and he thought I was joking. But then over a few weeks, first and second waivers attacked us, and then his receptionist. Right now, I'm just trying to enjoy what time I have left with my dad, before someone with black hair kills him, before I find the bullet I sent into the future, before I build my machine.